Right, well that's it, decent night's sleep, except it was raining really hard. I didn't get wet, I was inside the tent, but the tent was of course very noisy with the falling rain. Right, so the time is now 7:30 and I'm just walking into Hartland now to pick up the 0750 for Bude. Yeah, I'm running a touch early, so the quickest way to the bus stop is just up there, but I'll take you for a little walk through the village. Now it's not pouring with rain, so where I stayed, this is Hartland, and I thought it was going to be a lot smaller. The village of Hartland is big enough to support 3 pubs, a post office, another shop, a chippy, and also a British Legion and a fire station. Not bad. Quite a thriving community. But most importantly, it has early morning buses that get the kids to the various schools in the area, including, handily for us, Bude. I know I'm going in the right way because I just saw someone in a school uniform heading off ahead of me. There was actually a number of different buses going in lots of different directions for all the local school kids, but I've got myself on the one I want, heading out to Bude. And although Hartland is in Devon, this is the first Transport for Cornwall bus of the trip. That was the run just from Hartland to Bude. That was mostly full of school kids, so I kind of kept the camera out of the way of them. And here we are at Bude, by the river, and just behind me is the seaside. So I've got about 20 minutes now until the 95 bus to Camelford. So the first thing, I think the order of the day is see if anybody is selling coffee. Well, some of these local buses show battles with the narrow roads, but our bus looks a whole lot smarter. Here's my 95. It's a 2-hourly service running from Bude through Boscastle, Tintagel and Wadebridge. Now I'm in Cornwall, I can buy the day rider ticket, which is just £7.50, although I maybe could have done that at Hartland even though it was in Devon, as the service was provided by Transport for Cornwall. Anyway, for the next few days, the day rider ticket is going to be really useful. The 95 gives us a great view of this North Cornwall coast as we head on for Wademouth Bay. Or is it Widemouth Bay? Not sure. I reckon we are very close to the southwest coast path here, and Wademouth Bay is well into North Cornwall's surfing area. And as you'd expect from the name, just out of view is a very big beach indeed. Shame we haven't got a double-decker so we can get a better look. At Wademouth Manor we take a sharp left to head inland to search out the A39 Atlantic Coast Highway. And soon we're cracking on at some speed down this major North Cornwall artery. But you can't have too much of a good thing, and besides we need to rejoin the southwest coast path at Crackington Haven. And this little sharp turn by the beach is also part of the southwest coast path. Once over the bridge, the path will hug the coastline again, but we will be heading back inland. We'll stay on the little roads now as we have to pass through the beautiful little port town of Boscastle, which has a lovely slate town marker. One thing we'll get used to is the skill of these Cornish bus drivers as they pilot these big machines down the narrow Cornwall roads. Boscastle has a sweet little harbour, although parts of the town had to be rebuilt after catastrophic flash floods in 2004, when 50 cars were swept into the harbour and the bridge over the river was washed away. And after that it's just a short run along the cliff tops to Tintagel. So, slight change of plan. I've hopped off here at Tintagel because the 95 bus runs every 2 hours, so I've got a 2-hour layover here and we can have a little look round Tintagel. The reason for that was I planned to change at Camelford to get the 96 bus down to Rock, and whilst I'm sat on the bus I realised that 96 bus doesn't actually start running until the end of July, and it's the beginning of July. So yeah, change of plan, let's have a little look round Tintagel. Right, it'll probably be time for a pasty in a bit, but first things first, let's have a look at this castle and all that stuff. And yeah, as you'd expect for a tourist honeypot, there is a huge car park. This is a very steep path. It's going to be pretty hard work coming back with my heavy rucksack. Well, we're just going to have a little walk round and see what we can see, because entry to the castle is a whopping £24. Wow. Even without a visit to the castle on the island, the walk around the coastline here is a delight. And this is actually the South West Coast path. So the South West Coast bus has met the South West Coast path. And from here we should get a good view of the castle and a slightly scary bridge. In past times I've actually crossed that bridge, and you know what? It didn't seem quite as scary as it looks. It does feel important that every day on the South West Coast bus that at least I put these feet at some point on the actual South West Coast path. Yeah, here we are on the path. The Haven is a really nice place to sit. It used to be a harbour for fishing and also for shipping out the local slate. Now, that cave there is called Merlin's Cave, but if you want Arthurian stuff, then you're going to need a different YouTuber. The buildings here at the Haven are now pleasingly both a cafe and a toilet block, which are essentials for any southwest coaster, be they on a bus or on foot. So, let's get over there and see about a pasty. So, back in the bus shelter waiting for the 12:12 to take us on to Wadebridge. And yeah, obviously it'll be a number 95 again. Then from Wadebridge, Padstow, I think. Right, off we go on this 50-minute hop to Wadebridge. And I shall take my favourite seat on the right just here. I highly recommend Tintagel, even if, like me, you think all that Arthurian legend stuff is twaddle. But the place is truly lovely. For now we need a left-hand turn for the centre of Camelford. After Camelford and a bit of high speed running on the A39, we're soon off across country again for St Teith. Or is it St Teth? One thing's for sure, you've got to be patient on these roads. At St Kew we are back on the A39 yet again, and this should do it now for the run into Wadebridge. I really wanted to get to Rock to catch the ferry to Padstow like the walkers would do, but I'll have to satisfy myself with crossing the Camel here at Wadebridge. As we turn the corner, we follow the route of the old railway and pass the former railway station to what is now the bus station. And as Sir John Betjeman wrote, "On Wadebridge platform, what a breath of sea scented the Camel Valley, Cornish air, soft Cornish rain, and silence after steam." And though there's no railway, the old bridge still stands, and it dates from 1468. This old quayside is where goods would have been transferred from ship to rail and vice versa. I think I'll carry on round here, because that looks like a really good place for a sit. So we're by the river at Wadebridge. So next stop is the 1401, the bus number 11 to take me to Padstow. So I'm looking forward to that. I've already had a look on bus times and it's a double-decker, so we should get a good view as we go along and then come into Padstow. And then I've got a fairly short connection there to get the Atlantic coaster down to Newquay. The number 11 bus comes in on time for what is a fairly short ride along the side of the Camel to Padstow. And on the edge of town, the roundabout celebrates the Camel Way cycle route, with bikes and a camel. The weather was supposed to be better than this, but after all, I am now in Cornwall, so no doubt weather forecasting is a bit of a trickier art. There's still ample opportunities for our driver to celebrate their skills, squeezing us down a few more narrow roads, of course made tougher due to there being more tourist traffic at this time of year. But the front seat atop a double-decker has to be surely one of the best ways to appreciate this beautiful Cornish countryside. By the way, this isn't a lane, this is actually the A389. There's a lot of development just outside Padstow, and there's also a Tesco superstore, where everything is stopping, including this Atlantic coaster, which zooms off before I can investigate where it's going next. Right, she had to terminate us early, just outside Padstow, as she got message that the traffic's really bad in there and her bus is due for school run. So yeah, we all got chucked out outside Tesco's, but I don't think it's too far to walk, and I've got about 45 minutes until I pick up the Atlantic coaster. So yeah, I could do with stretching my legs, so here we go. And indeed, I'm not lying when I say it really is a lovely way to enter the town, as you walk down the hill through the back streets until eventually you're greeted by a lovely view of the harbour. Padstow is lovely, but it can be incredibly busy. But we're not quite into high season yet, so there's still a bit of space to breathe. Of course, there's one guy who is now synonymous with the place, and this is his pricey restaurant. And a bit further along is his real money spinner, and I can tell you it was incredibly busy. And now, lucky for you, I can do this. Because the traffic delays meant I was stood waiting for a bus for around 90 minutes. They seem to have cancelled the one I planned to catch, and then left us all none the wiser about whether anything else would also run. But in the end, a beat-up old Volvo turned up and nobody was complaining about not having an open-top bus. We all just thanked our lucky stars and clambered aboard. And anyway, it's still quite cold, so I think I'm happy for that bit of glass on this run. Sadly, this one isn't going to be going through Hartland Bay, but we do hit the seaside and the southwest coast path at Porthcothan Bay. Soon we're off the main road again, and here's the Sea View teepees. Now, I'm definitely not a glamper, so I'm going to stick with my little Vango tent tonight. However, those teepees do look out onto Bedruthen Steps. This really is a wonderful part of the walker's path, even though we don't see quite so much from the bus. Finally, we snake down to the beach at Morganporth, where we lose some people and gain some more. Morganporth has an excellent beach, although I do prefer Watergate Bay. I think I'm inviting some comments on that one. After Morganporth, there's the airport, which is both military and civil, and then we're off to my campsite, except... Well, that was annoying. Someone else pressed the button for my stop, and by the time I'd got my heavy bag down the stairs, he pulled away. So here we are, walking back up from where I shouldn't have been, but it wasn't too bad. Still, I'm quite tired now, I must say, but my campsite's just up here. I've stayed here before, and I know what to expect. So welcome to the cliff top above Watergate Bay, and that's the end of day 2. So we travelled down the coast from Hartland to Bude, Tintagel, Wadebridge, Padstow, and finally getting into Watergate Bay after a bus didn't turn up. But I'm here now, it's still not raining, so the plan is that I'm going to go down the little path here, down the coast path, and I'm going to find something to eat at the pub in Watergate Bay, and then we'll get ready for day 3. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can join me for day 3.